Okay, it looks like we have most everyone joined. So welcome and thank you again for your patience. We are on the sixth of six teachings from the Venerable Lama Lodu Rinpoche. Today we will be continuing teachings on Shamatha and Vipassana leading up to Mahamudra. So just as our standard housekeeping, Lama Lodu will give the teaching, and at the end of that time, we will take some questions. Please put your questions into the chat and I will read them to Rinpoche in the order received. This being the last in the series of teachings, Rinpoche, I wanted to thank you on behalf of the KDK Board of Directors for these teachings. They were wonderful. I'm sure everyone agrees. And I wanted to express my sincere wish that your Dharma activities and the activities of the Shangpa Kagyu lineage continue for a long time and continue to bless all sentient beings. Thank you. And please enter.
Thank you, Dave and Lama Ching, working hard. Today we have some technician problem. We have to a long time to have gathered in this condition. So I apologize to not on time, a little bit late, I think. Anyway, so again, the teaching, it is impossible to finish if I go more detail, but this is last, but I believe to next week I'll be teach one continuing because today we're not finishing, not getting everything what I want to say. So, but I'm do my best, and also David did say today we're finishing. That the day we conclusion of the past, and we say we'll finish today. But I think the one teachings next week also. At the end will figure out, but I cannot condense all these teachings. Otherwise, misinformation and not complete information. But it is very hard to complete information from Buddha teaching. But somewhat we have to end it somewhere. So that case, today will finish. That will be not sufficient to teaching to me to end it today because of the topic will be kind of scattered all over, then I'm not concluded everything in a short way. So that makes kind of a little bit confusing people, maybe. And we'll see what the reaction comes from the audience. So I didn't get any question from them. And I really enjoyed the question answer. And but that's not too much active in this class. I like to be questioning, especially basically what I'm giving the topic. From the topic, the question will be very helpful. Otherwise, any question will be fine too. So last time we have to do our best, but this is I did it more detailed as I can, but this doesn't mean, all of that is come abiding practice. But there's more. Buddha teaches many different ways. All of them so much beneficial. But I like just giving the idea line up the different level of the mind and what kind of obstacle each state of the mind and how we can face this. And then what is the problem beginning of not meditating. And those all the explaining. So, and I did my best. So that is very important. Of course, the first level, the mind is very crazy because it's just beginning meditations. In that case, that your mind is scattered. So if you are understanding of the benefit of the meditations, come abiding, and you will have more determined, more trust, and more confident to practice. Then you will be make more diligent, more determined. And so this will be help you because beginning meditation will be very much excitement more than anything. And then also sometimes thinking comes, this one of them can take you down to away from practice. And most time excitement in this case. So that's called mental placement, is just placing mind into the peace, but does not stay there in peace due to it's not familiar, So you have more merit, more purification in the past. So this time maybe hearing the idea, get concentration from very much improve and very much high level of samadhi will be able to transform your mind. If you're just beginning, then this is a little difficult. I can make you happy to say easily, but that's not true. Buddha doesn't say that. If I say that, meaning I'm not misusing teaching to Buddha. So I have to tell you some effort you needed. And otherwise you have the great merit and purification past life. Just sharing a little bit, that will be pick up. So the second one is a kind of little bit kind of you call Guntu Jokpan, meaning sustaining the concentration, mind placing continually. So that means you have maybe 5-10 minutes, a little more in this, give the space that you can concentrate it. But that time you have to be also have diligent and the faith, the trust, and the practice that will be encouraging you. And the same things is taught, kind of faith like this base placement. So this is also one way from meditation, but not long ago. You lost your object of meditation, but you bring back. So that between your concentration, focusing your mind to object or away from the object, that become whole-like. Then mindfulness somewhat may remind you to bring back to that case that your mind kind of bring back the whole what happened in the whole because of distraction. Then you fetch up, meaning that you kind of bring back your concentration to the object. So the next one is near placement, and that is become quite more mature compared to the 3 stage. So this will became the beginning of the very subtle level obstacles, such like sinking, excitement, come in and distracting you there. So this is a case where you have the challenge. You can see when you have that level of mind that you knows where you are, you know what obstacle is there, you know how to do it, then that is naturally you will effort and respect, and then you challenge all the distraction and subside by through diligence, all these things. So you have, more mindful became more mature, mindfulness become high degree. So that will be the mindfulness what will be take care of this problem there, what you may have in this stage. And of course, the 5th state is become, the name is a 5th state called mental subdue. And what is subdue here? You have to subdue the wild mind. To subdue a wild mind, you can 1 second, you can stay still. But that kind of wild mind have to be subdued. So it's that case, because of your high samadhi, high degree of samadhi, or calm abiding or concentration, kind of cause that the sinking excitement begin to distracting you. So you have to accurate mindfulness have to be applying to not forgetting the object what you're concentrating. At the same time, your introspective alertness, the part of the mind have to be. Look at the quality of the mind while you're sitting meditation. Mindfulness in the mindful to when you're concentrating, you're full aware to object. That is the mindfulness. Thus, remembering the object. But introspective alertness, what does it's when his mind leave from the objects, so that is catch up or get aware by the interest alertness. And then only can aware that, then that time immediately, and that your introspective alertness can be aware that is a problem, then you have to remedy to apply to subside the problem what you're dealing with your concentrations. And so that is the kind of the 5th level is a very much challenging there. There's more is a kind of challenging what obstacle, hinder, then actually mind is practicing and concentration. But while you're challenging that is just practicing as well, because that you train your mind to become familiar to concentrations, and you are very sensitive to an obstacle, sinking excitement, simple excitement in sinking or can be you be very sensitive, you aware and clear. And then also that is, the mindfulness kind of full awakening to aware strongly, interest, alertness, kind of warning to mindfulness, to more, accurate degree of the mindfulness have to apply to keep your mind on the object what you're concentrating. And so this kind of remedy have to be applied. That is the meantime, lots of one mind have to be deal with that. You may have the most time your challenge with obstacle, not your actual meditations. But that case is okay. Then number 6 level can name also pacification. So that means that time just you working hard, you get tired, get home, and you sleep, relax. Something like that. With 5 stages, completely you deal with this obstacle, hindrance to subside and remove. So 6 become more quiet. So that is a 6 is a kind of pacification, meaning it's completely your peace, actually, one way. But there's a kind of not live in the peace all the time. They're coming constantly again, and the excitement and those things. But that case, you have the introspective alertness is so acute, so get used to be on, and then mindfulness, both are the kind of more high degree level. So that case, they comes immediately applying the diligent remedy, the diligently, they subside. Never they win those obstacle, but you win. So you have half of half. You have quite easily concentrating. Half of you may have, and you have to apply diligent. You need to apply the diligent enthusiasm. So those are the important that case. And 7 is pretty much, you don't need to do too much. Maybe more, maybe have more than half. You have to fully concentration up to you set. You can able to concentrate it. But occasionally you come, but that's not big deal because you have remedy is very strong and powerful, full mature. So that subside, coming and subside. In that case, you're more have the what called number short about called completely pacifications. They call that, I think, number short about. So that is the 7. But 8 level is quite very high levels. But that case, you have high level of the samadhi, so you can meditate as soon as you are prepared and take refuge, generate bodhicitta. Then you just settle down. You go into wherever you're concentrating. So you beginning start concentration, but few hours you meditate, you're never away from object. You're meditating constantly there, so there's no obstacle be obstructing you, but you will be able to stay and sustaining your meditation even solid 8 hours. For example, people get drunk too much, they sleep, and then 8 hours they sleep, they didn't know. They have 8 hours sleep, but they did it. But because the drunk, that make you sleep, you don't notice that. So similar here, your samadhi is so very mature, high quality. So the samadhi is completely take over your normal life, confusion and difficulty are completely subside. Then you can stay solid 8 hours, 10 hours, you can meditate on the concentration, samatha meditation. So that case, your high level concentration, but doesn't mean you may go down again. If you not meditate today, tomorrow, after tomorrow, 1 week, you will confuse again the same place. You have to go back, start again. But you have to not fail. Every day you do something continually, then that 8 level go to 9 levels. So 9 level is called nyamya, is called full concentration, that can, and you have, for example, that case, your concentration are so mature and high level, very accurate. So you can meditate that, no matter where you are. So you can meditate with sitting, with questioning with people. You can meditate while you're sleeping. You can meditate while you're cleaning. You can meditate, you're walking, talking. And so so much you familiar, customated to the staying on the full concentrations. And that mindful is completely high level of the mindfulness and very accurate. So mindfulness, be aware your mind is concentrating no matter what you're doing, where you're doing, So in that case, you can, that 10 level meditator, the mental level is quite, mind become very flexible, and man can able to keep, whether you're walking, talking, even joking, doesn't matter, no matter what. You never lost your concentrations. So that is quite high level. But again, that means this will not mean you're anywhere, because you could fall down, you don't continue. Again, you have to continue. You're on the way. You're not arrived yet. So this case, the kind of I think they're called a kind of, this kind of concentration is called something, but I not recall that. So this concentration, while you keeping doing it discontinually, and next will become to joy, physical joy, physically very positive. Anything to set meditation, you can stay a long time, it doesn't bother. And then you can empty, no food, no drinking, will be not bothered too much. So it is kind of physically, you are able to overcome any difficult comes, you never distracted by any physical difficulty. So this is called physical suppleness, because due to the meditation, bring the physical become changing to a different level of the physical, not sensitive of the normal activity. And then also this will be leading again the joy, and then beginning to up to the joy, the beginning to mental level of the suppleness, which is mentally, you can meditate, for example, anything, color, object, subject, objectless, or visualize deities, visualize the mantra, visualize seed silver, and visualize the deities and implement, and also breathings. But no matter what kind of subject you're taking, they are completely, fully, your mind is concentrating on them. So this case, this kind of concentration you have, you may have the visualization, no matter what kind of deities. The tantric level by meditation have lots of deities, many arms, many face, so there's kind of many feet, so many color, many ornaments, all these things you can bring in your mind completely once, then you can stay on that concentration. So that kind of degree, your mind is kind of how useful tool for the meditations, no matter what kind of meditations. So in this case, you are not is become inside the meditation. You're not Vipassana, you're Shamatha still. Because one thing's we are, not analyzed yet. We just focus the object, objectless, whatever. But we not analyze this. So that case is kind of Shamatha. The Vipassana has different levels. But you could be Shamatha and Vipassana practice if you analyze these things. So what the analyze is that, you knows what I'm visualizing, what I'm in concentrations, you are aware that is not really existing inherently, their nature is emptiness. If you have that kind of the view, that kind of way to look at your meditation object, whatever it is, and then your meditation is the look the same, but your intention make your meditation become Vipassana, not Shamatha anymore. So that is the difference. Vipassana and Shamatha practice is the depending you have. So I'm saying that, if you don't analyze, everything is existent. Buddha says that, Machi mata kapsu tamche, all of them existent. So if you don't analyze, investigate it, then you don't do that, then they really think everything as it is. You really think these things exist as it is, like seeing. But when you analyze and investigate very detailed, and then you realize that is not really truly existent. They are emptiness. So then when you analyze, they are not really existent truly. When you not analyze, then everything exists. So that's the difference. But then analytical meditation is pretty much investigating nature is not true existence. Why not true existence? So that is a way that you find there is a kind of way that is not existent, that will be refuted your idea and concept of existence. And that is, can you believing everything is not really true as I am thinking. And then if you have that kind of analytical meditation, analytical concept, and that help you to even samatha practice become vipassanas, So vipassana is Theravada in the Hinayana tradition also vipassana there, and Mahayana, Vajrayana also vipassana there. But way they look is the Theravada and Hinayana tradition, they do not have the one thing, they don't have the attitude to benefit sentient beings. And another things that they do not have investigates all the phenomena. They investigated phenomena of selfish. A phenomenon of selfish is become, selflessness. Self is selflessness. That's the Hinayana practice on the investigated self, do not really exist. But they do not detail investigated the phenomena. So Mahayana do investigated selflessness and no selfish, but selflessness, investigate self as a selflessness. And also Mahayana has investigating the selflessness of the phenomena. So that means that everything's in the different originated, none of them exist forever. It is impermanence. That means everything's emptiness. That is the Mahayana teachings higher than Hinayana. So Vipassana, the same idea, but again, that's where the big difference again, you see. But again, in Hinayana and the Vinaya Sutra, Buddha taught that. Buddha taught because reason there. And Buddha knows beginning of his disciple doesn't have intelligence enough, merit enough, purification enough, and practice enough to understanding of these all selflessness phenomena, and also they're considering the benefit of all sentient beings when practicing. So this kind of them doesn't fit in their mind because due to their merit and purification is low. So he want to not leave them to just, leave in not teaching them, but if you want to teach, but according to Buddha himself, to little by little, they make understanding, merit, purification, concentration get better, greater, then slowly move into the Mahayanas. Not immediately. Immediately you teach, they will never come back because that is never possible. Anyone can do that. So they make wrong views. That's the reason Buddha taught that one. So we respect this, and we know this is taught from the Buddha, and they are follower of Buddha, and they devotee of the Buddha, and they practicing according to the Buddha's teaching. So that way we have no objected or not disbelieving them. So we have to believe and trust and faith them. And so the Mahayana case is kind of very important because first place we have to training mind into relative truths. love and compassion. So that's it's very important. And then also same time you have to give in the overview everything is not truly existence. It's not truly existing because they are kind of all these dependent originated. Buddha Paramita Sutra, which is common by the Nagarjunas, that is they hold Kangi thinking Dawajun, Kaba member, Chememba, Cheba member, Tamemba, One member, Domemba, Tadet, Mintage, Tubanyashi Shitemba, Togusanjamano, Tambadela Chancellor. So this the kind of he explaining about 8 extreme, 4 extreme, 2 extreme, those things. So this is a different way. So these are the teaching of the Mahayanas, Buddha taught in the Paramita, and then Nagarjuna will comment on that more in a brief, shortening, and then make easy, clear understandings. And so that is the Nagarjuna wrote many of the texts, and among them is kind of Sawashira, that is the main text, and used for Madhyamikas, the principal text. And then he have the lots of disciples comment on that text, the root text of Nagarjuna wrote. And Nagarjuna wrote based on the Paramita Sutra, So he had lots of highly developed disciple comment to them. They have lots of texts wrote commentary on that. So a little bit different there too, because of the way to examine, the way to kind of accept the view, all these things. Some of them kind of among their own disciple, of the one guru's disciple, they wrote the commentary. The commentary have a little bit different sometimes, but that is not complaint because that is whoever comment that, whatever his view he wrote there. But it's when you talk about the mind can be very difficult to adjust what I'm thinking is right, the other thinking was right. They will have a little different than my right. And so my right is a little different than the other right. So this way the text also different there. So this doesn't mean we can an excuse to saying this is wrong something here, this is different than there. So that's we should not be confused by things like that. Anyway, so the Vipassana, practice is the same. What we're talking about before, all this problem is there, and you can remove the problem through the practicing, applying the remedy. But then Vipassana is the kind of, it's a breach now. The Vipassana, yes, Shamatha and Vipassana. So Vipassana is the kind of now next talking about. So the Vipassana practice is kind of, for example, you examine self now, you see. And before we don't examine self, but self is concentrating outside, to keeping my mind to one point, single pointed, not kind of wandering down. So I try to calm my mind down and retain my mind to the object. And I'm kind of concentrating the object, remain mind onto that one object, not wandering around and subside, pacify my all the thought. And normally I have. That is all we did there. But now we have to do is that, so I'm the focusing the object there, then that's the object there. So I'm here the meditating the objects. So that case, I'm the concentrating the object. I'm the meditator. And object is the word I am kind of meditating. And then I'm meditating. So there's two things going on there. Object, subject, and action there. So in that case, that is the Vipassana practice. That will be the not way to practice, So that is you have the object you created, And who created is you created, your mind created. And then up to all this object and subject together, you have to action to meditation now. So that is going to get it in the different originated these things now. So Madhyamika philosophical system, anything dependent originated is not really existence. You see? So now what my object and subject in the action, I'm meditating, So normally that's not my meditation. But now it's Mayan tradition of the Vipassana, Shamatha practice, Vipassana practice. It is what I did is the not right things, because I'm thinking that I'm here, object there, the meditation or to this. So that's what, meditation become dependent originated. When dependent originated, that not be exist forever, impermanence. And so therefore, this is not the right way to view these things. So that case, first you see this object created by my mind, I, me, the one who's creating it. And then I have to find out who I am. So I am the meditator. Therefore, I'm the meditator. There is the object of the meditation. Then I have to meditate on that. See? So in this case, I'm looking for objects I created. Meditation also I created. But who I am, that's I have to investigate it, because that's the creator. So when I'm looking at myself, who I am, I have name. My name is my parents' gift, my Lama's gift, my friends' gift. So therefore it's giving name from my one of my person, my belong to my family, related with me. So they give me. If I'm not there, they will not give name, because they are where to give name. If giving name, somebody have to be there. And I was there, therefore they give name. But this name is not me then. So then who is that? And I'll say, after all, say this is my body's name, and that's it to me. And my body is not me. How can be my body can be me? Because my body is, it is gather of the five aggregate. Again, that is gather of the five aggregate become me. That meaning me is dependent originated. And that was the beginning. You have known this is not right. This is not the really things there. But somewhat I do have five aggregate. I can see, I can smell, I can hear, I can trace, I can feel, I can think, all these things. But then none of this me, none of them not me. So we can look at my aggregate. I have the whole body, so short, thinking shortly, we say, so this my body is, me then. So this is a me. I created my meditation object, and then I meditated with that. But that's why I'm conclude that way, that case. And I have to know the me. Who is the me then? Me, I, me, my name, my form, my body of all these five aggregate and five sense organs, five aggregate, none of these, me, no, not me. And but short, that is my body. That when you say my body, it look like body was not me, body was mine. So what is this? That's my body. Yes, that can be, this is my body. Who is me then? That is not there. So you say this part of my body is a me. How can be me? My part of my hand or my finger cut. My one finger lost now. It's whole part of my body is me. The piece of my finger, they're lost now, right? In that case, Small piece of me is gone now. That's not true because still my body, my fingers cut and left, bone, gone now. My arm is mine. Therefore, mind is not going. So if whole part of body is me, then small piece missing, somebody, whole arm missing, but still alive. Still say I'm me. That person have anger, jealous, greed, everything there. But part of I'm losing doesn't lose any of your emotion. Any ego become less, equally even. So that shows clearly part of my body is not me. But of course, we say my head. So the head is belong to me. My chest, that's mine. Feet, that's mine. My heart, my lung, that's mine. That is possessed by me, but that's not me. Any part of your, from the skin to flesh to bone, the blood, all the intestine inside, everything you detail take out. None of them you or me. All of them belong to you or belong to me. So now after all is the, where is that terrible me and I? When I get happy, I'm happy. Yes, I'm happy. I am happy. The happiness is not mine, me, but I am happy. Happy because I am happy. With the happy and the me is different. I'm sad, again sad, I am sad. But I am and I'm sad is not, one thing. But always I become separate from everything. So then all conclude in short. So now, okay, I don't have me is outside, inside, nowhere. I not see any part of my body have anything called I, me. None of them you can figure out that. I mean, outside, no one can see that for sure. Everybody can look at that. But after all, that no me then, right? So therefore, when you investigate it, all these kind of things are the dependent originated. So there is empty, not really in the existence. They're impermanence. The body becomes small to the adore on the old age and death. It's impermanent, changing. Every moment change. So impermanence, that meaning forever you cannot live that way. When you're a child, but now become you adult, soon you become old, soon after all that you die, So this continually kind of impermanent, this body is not really I or me, but we dearly make sure to not hungry, not thirsty, not cold, not too hard, comfort, taking medicine to live longer, healthy. We all doing those things, But this body is sooner or later leave there. And we have to be our, with our mind, that is, which is called I, me, which is not exist there, but that is we think we are. So that I is the live now here, lifetime, suffer. And then we have suffer. Sometimes we suffer for this lifetime, wealth, prosperity, name, fame, intelligence, family, all this kind of reason, purpose for this. We get jealous, we get proud, we get greed, we get anger. We torture other people, upsetting other people. Put my own this body to live this lifetime. So we make discomfort many beings. And discomforting myself by the constantly striving things, unnecessary things. When I don't have, I have to get it. When I have to protect things, guiding them. and I'm afraid to losing my family who I love, and my afraid in any enemy take my family, torture and suffer, or me take my things, well, purpose, name, this, that. So these all kind of make our very suffering and pain. So this pain is where it come from. Really, this pain is come from grasping our ego, me and I. And originally, this ego is not existent. This ego is not really, and it is too artificial, and this is kind of just, it confuses, and this is the source of suffering and pain and confusions, not allowed us to free from suffering, not allowed to get liberation from the suffering and then happiness forever. That ego is to cause us. Is this really? It's not really. It is artificial. If you find the really, who pointed this? Past great Buddha Bodhisattva didn't find it. Present Buddha Bodhisattva didn't find it. So future will not find this. Is there nothing there selfish is truly exists in theirs? Selfish is artificial and kind of conceptually developed there, and then you were stuck on that. And that keep unnecessary suffering and pain. So this self is contributing all the suffering and pain is. So the Buddha teach many different ways. Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana. Vajrayana have 70, I have 8 class there, different level. And Mahayana have different kind of level as well. So that he taught 84,000 different teaching his lifetime. He taught. But this is the kind of different people confuse problem. And he want to giving this teaching to antidote, remedy, to remove your ego. And you free yourself of sufferings and achieve for everlasting freedom, total awakenings. That's all he gave the teaching to you to practice, study, and then you can get free yourself from suffering and achieve the total or everlasting happiness. That's Buddha taught, So these all the teaching are the remedy to destroy your ego, So Buddha says, you want to free yourself sufferings, you commit not to do any of the sinful actions through speech, mind, body. Whatsoever, I will not do any kind of sinful actions through speech, mind, body. Then I'm applying speech, mind, body to full virtuous actions, positive actions through speech, mind, body. Why you have to avoiding sinful action? Because you don't like suffering and pain. You don't like suffering and pain. You should avoiding sinful action no matter what. You never, ever commit or do any negative action through speech, mind, body. You don't want to do that is you don't want to suffer. You want to confuse your mind. So that reason you avoiding negative action, positive, then you performing, commit not to do the negative actions. And then you apply the positive action instead. Why you do that? Because you like happiness. You like comfort. You have joy, freedom. What caused that is the positive actions. So you want to positive action. you commit, dedicate to do positive actions. So when you do positive actions, what next is you can subdue your wild monkey life, your mind. Not knowing the ego is the evil, keep you suffering for a long time. That is the worst enemy we all samsara sentient being has. Our ego is the worst enemy. This worst enemy keep us suffering forever. You have more ego, you do more negative. And more suffering comes, more confusion comes. You are less ego, you do less doing negative activity. And the less the suffering and pain. So eventually, we are keeping the samsara to suffer and confused right now. That is all. No one give us this problem. We give our problem ourselves because our artificial ego is we believing strongly me and I, and serving the ego, we make the cause lots of suffering for myself and discomforting many beings. But then ignorant part, what you feeling of happiness, freedoms. Then you forget the positive actions. So that's in cutting the road to walk into freedom. You block that road. So you have to open this road, you have to open your heart to positive. Careful through speech mind and mindful through speech mind to be positive. Very sensitive to the negative side. So that is the ego is the one enemy who keep the sufferings us forever. In generally, we have enemies. Yeah, we have people steal your money, steal your, maybe somebody killed my parents, somebody cut my arms, somebody beat me up, somebody putting down my family, all kind of things happening. We call enemy there. They are not enemy. What they can do is kind of temporarily I suffer and pain confused. They never block me liberation. Liberate from the sufferings, get enlightenment. They don't. Even I have virtues enough, good deed enough. Somebody killed me, that meaning I'm quickly getting another better body, better environment, better place. But he may have the karma because according to his own emotion, affliction, when he doing this, what kind of anger or negative emotion and cultivation, motivation there. So that according to that, he will be the karma. But for me, it's how I live. I live negatively, of course, this will be more negative. But I live positively, that doesn't make too much difference. I'm lying. He kill, not kill. I'll die sooner or later anyway. So therefore, this enemy, what we call this physical, now temporarily we enemy, they cannot kill anything other than you can make ripening this body. But that's body they kill. Mind have the positive and negative, whatever you do, this is continually next to you. So therefore, ego is the problem now. So we have to be acknowledge and aware that and following that, you see. So this at the reason the ego is very important to the make sure to investigate it thoroughly, and then up to all you look, even you just examine one session, you're meditating, now say, okay, I'm doing to meditation Vipassana, analytical Vipassana practice I'm doing now. So I can sit in a position, of course, in mind, first taking refuge and generate bodhicitta. You can do verbally or just silently, you can do that. And then you settle down and then you analyze that, as we say, from the skin to the flesh, bone, blood, every different organ in your body, take out, try to see anywhere you locating your eye and ego, and at the last, you completely detail, you concentrating analytical, finally last you find nothings. So when you nothing, when you get there's a last one, nothing there, you have some competence. You have some kind of, convictions. Oh, is that real me and I, ego is not really the existence. So when just knowing by the just investigate it and you get knowledge that you not exist, ego is not really this artificial, then you feel that up to the analytical ending there, you can get some very, very special, very quiet, boundless, very profound and deep. Not concerned, past and present, future. The briefly flashing the light of the egolessness there, So you can stay long as you can, but beginning you will not last long. So what will happen is when you getting state of there, you have get briefly that special experience you're experiencing. And that kind we say when they experience, you cannot articleize. The meditator in Mahamudra in the past, great masters say, it is just like mute people eating ice cream. Mute people asking the sugar. The mute people cannot talk. So when eat the ice cream or sweets, so enjoyable. We can tell how it is, So these are, when you get that state in some time, and you have unspeakable. So one things like the mute people can eating the sugar. Was also one exam they say the kind of child bring into shrine room, which is beautifully decorated, and they see it kind of impress them, cannot tell. They are just become not having anything grasping to impress, to grasping them. So they became so stressed, impressed there. So that time they lost the concept, intellect. So they also experience that way. So one is the kind of mute experience eating the sugar. One is the child experience come to the empty altar that's decorated very beautifully, what is never seen before that. So that is two example giving. So this, when you experience, you cannot tell to people how to say that, but you experience that. It is kind of unexpressible experience that you see. So that is the kind of relaxing there. That's called Vipassana meditation. But then the problem is that when you do, that you have some, getting there, sometimes what happens is people exciting. Oh, something really, I'm getting enlightenment now. I'm really hit some Buddha now. So it's kind of like, can't get that kind of impression. And then when you get that concept putting in your mind, then of course, then lost what they all beautifully experience what you experiencing. You see? So in that case, this will not last long. If you have Samatha practice done very well, Samatha practice has been high degree enough that you can practice this practice. This practice can last long until time. When your Samatha practice is not that good, it's so. Sometimes not avoiding subject, that means just simply you did a little bit, not really seriously. In that case, that would be the just impress you, then lost instantly again. So that's happening. So this is depending how much merit the purification, spending time in karma abiding practice, and how much familiarized, how much deep you have done. So this will be keep that experience become last longer. and then less impressed, so you can get, very good way to preserve your experience, And so, and that's kind of it's very important for these practice like analytical experience, analytical practices. And before you go to Mahamudra, definitely you need again these things, and very, very well done, well trained to get there. And it also that different practice, different height, and a different degree of the samatha, samadhi, vipassana. So different degree they have also physical experience, indications, mentally different things experience. So sometimes you get very terribly upset because sometimes this practice can make them both terrible, things you feel. That meaning karmically come up the purification, but then you don't understand. This will make you impress and you stop the practice, or less practice, shorter practice, then this will begin reducing your practice again. So you have to keep up that even bad experience comes. And while you're doing such practice good like this, no matter what kind of dream or real thing you have, not good that much, but still that's not bad. You keep up doing it. You have to overcome that, in order to stabilize your meditation, no matter what kind of suffering, pain, and feeling you have experienced during your practice. You have to continually practice more stronger, review your refuge prayer, devotion, and generating bodhicitta, compassion, review them, and then also their samatha practice become fine samatha practice, high degree of samadhi practice, then go to vipassana practice, become degree higher. In the long beginning, you have higher practice, then present practice become more higher and deeper, understanding less obstacle also too. So that is the way to go, So that is, how you can make these practice go to the vipassana. In that case, I'm vipassana. So vipassana practices can analytical your practice. Say mind practices and vipassana have to be generating the refuge prayer with a faith and trust, the three jewel, and also you have generating love and compassion toward sentient beings without expectation, anything. So they develop love and compassion, your practice for the benefit of all sentient beings. So that is the very important to mind the practice. Beginning, you have to adopt it there, and then go ahead to practice whatever you practice doing it. And then during the practice, you have all different kind of obstacle hindrance, but you have to maintain. There is a very happy, amazingly happy things come. This kind of practice can bring you, but that's you should not attach. You not think anything you getting nowhere. Just sustaining practice, sustaining your devotion, sustaining your compassions. It just continues, but that during the practice, amazing thing can happen. But all of them, not bad, not good. You think that's too good, that's obstacle. You think that is bad, that's obstacle. Just equally normal practice. Don't too excited. Don't too much hope. And don't too much hopeless. Continue. So that is the practice necessary to maintain this Vipassana practice. So this case, the Vipassana practice is called is, but briefly I talk about this is kind of selflessness of the phenomena. So that in the one's selfish is kind of selflessness. The self is not really self. It's not truly existent. Self is emptiness, you see. So that's what we're talking about here. But there are lots of different ways to explaining. I'm making just guideline to how to meditate and short way, simply get some idea there. And there's lots of ways to talk about these things. But again, this selflessness of the phenomenon is kind of more, you have to adopt it here, this practice, being mind a practice. And also especially we are inclined to be Vajrayana practice. I'm not sure we are practice Vajrayana or what kind of practice, depending. But anyway, So especially with name of that high practice, we need to be definitely knows the selflessness of the phenomenon also. So selflessness phenomenon means everything in the world, what you think exists, is all, none of them are existent truly. There is natural emptiness. So that case, everything emptiness. As we say, we self is everything empty, self, not self that truly existent. The phenomena exist in house, tree, water, mountain, everything. Sentient beings, different realm, different beings, all of them. Phenomena is nothing, anything left behind, everything included in all the existence. All this existence are truly not existent. There is natural emptiness. Why this is an emptiness? One thing is they are impermanent. Anything you see, they are not last forever. Sentient being, especially human being, we born beginning as child, innocence, not know how we can practice. You hearing me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, so long time I didn't see, but my battery is down. Or why this battery not charging maybe? Battery is 110 only I have, so that is very dangerous. Some reason, and then I'm charging, but it's quite quick. I see. So that's not charging actually. I don't know why. Maybe I should check this out.
Out here, we see you loud and clear, Lama. Very good.
Okay. But somewhat, my battery says that they're not charging anymore. So I don't know why that happens. It's only the 10 I have, so some reason it's not charging. Change the clock. Normally I charge while I'm talking, and it charge continually. So this may be charging now. Okay, now charging. So some reason it didn't charge before. Okay, now charging. That case will not fail now. So I'm talking about is selflessness of phenomena. So selflessness phenomenon is everything's impermanent. Impermanent means emptiness. So none of them permanent. So everything exists in the world, and inside there exists in sentient beings, a tree, a mountain, whatever exists. Those all of them not truly existence. So that's as show in impermanence. Everything in a house you're building someday all fall down. The car, airplane, all fall down. It's not because forever. Airplane was certain age, they cannot functioning. Car, same things. House, the same things. So that's impermanence. And so, like season also, summer, winter, fall, spring, and so the 4 season. So each season have different color, different temper. So all this permanent changings. But changing, sometimes we say that this summer, next summer is same. It never is the same. Last summer is different than this summer. Last summer, I was 75. This year, I'm 73, 76. If it's a same summer, then that meaning I will be say 75. So that shows it's kind of the same summer coming in another one. It's not meaning same as last ones. Same things. I see things are not yesterday I saw is not same. It's this year, this similar things I'm seeing, but not the same one. And so people who see the last year and this year, similar, different one. The last year he was 8, now he's 9. The next year 10, then 15. So same things. That all meaning changing your life toward to die, so toward to become impermanent. So that impermanent lead actually meaning everything is not really existent inherently, will decay and subside in emptiness. So that is what it is. And, the Buddha says, all is emptiness. But also the reason and this emptiness is dependent originated. Everything you see, all these depending are things. Car, house, we call house, how many different kind of conditions put together to become house. So house not being just being house, they're naturally, it have to somebody to made, and somebody have to gather into all different kind of conditions. So therefore, the depending originated their emptiness. So car moving also the same things, the different things in the car. Car need to gas, car need to all kind of machine things there. So small aware is not working there, broke, the car not moving. So they need gas and oil. And then that not only that, if the initial key needed, so that not work either. So a human being needed, human being also training this how to drive the car. The same things, airplane also like that. So they are depending originated, not by nature. So therefore, everything existent is not truly existed, depending originated. All depending originated. So therefore, if there is not empty, truly existent, is it forever lasting, not depending by anything. There are nothing such things. So therefore, everything emptiness, so not really true existence. You cannot grab all of them. So therefore, all the phenomena is truly not existence. So therefore, we are, when practicing Vipassana, not only selflessness of individual, but also selflessness with all the phenomena. Two self in mind has, the Hinayana have one self, only selfishness of the individual, and they not bothered by the selflessness of the phenomena or selfish phenomena. So Mahayana important to understanding the selfish of the phenomena, grasping self is real. That is one of the obstruction to liberation from sufferings. So that we have to be go through different kind of debate and philosophy and prove that. And so that is one you have to be training one's mind very well. And of course, understanding this, then you have to put in the mind that truly and you believe and confident. And then you practice become much more clear and undoubtful. And then practice bring you liberation too. So in this, when you're talking about the Vipassana, you have to develop the understanding. Now, when you meditate, Vipassana meditation, you have to get through all these, have to be subside phenomena of selfish, become selflessness through analytical, and then selfish of the phenomena is become selflessness of the phenomena through the investigatings. Up to that, you can go through, you can get some idea of the emptiness of everything. So this will bring you some some kind of sense of the freedom yourself. Normally you think you're bounding, tightening with a kind of some rope. You cannot move it. You try to get out, but you're not allowed to get out, and tightening. So an understanding of this will be look like you are unwrapped from the tied with the rope. And then you free from the rope, then you feel just release by the being you are not tightening in there. And then in that case, you can adjust to your mind to be how, what is your nature of the mind is. So in that case, the nature of the mind is the true Tathagata Garbhas. Nature mind is Tathagata Garbha, Tishin Shikpi Nyingpo, Tathagata Garbha. And Tishin Shikpi Nyingpo in the Tibetan, which means true nature of the mind is the Buddha itself. The mind is not human being have this. Mind is every sentient being have the mind. Every sentient being, no matter what, long as life, there's a Buddha nature. So these one who have the Buddha nature, they are a potential. They have the potential to get enlightenment. They are a seed of the Buddha. They have seed of the Buddha. Every living being wish to be happy. Every living being want to be no suffering, no pain. Every sentient being, even sentient being, not intellectually aware of that. But at the same time, they looking for the happiness, comfort. They try to avoid suffering and pain. Of course, the smaller, tiniest bug, you can see they're moving day and night. You can see they're rational. They're no look like they're very busy. Where they're going is they try to find a sanctuary where they can get happy. Where from they're running is they're from suffering and discomfortings. That place they're avoiding that and rational to get out from there, to finding some place very sanctuary, happiness. Any even insect, you can see they look like they may not have the mind. They do have mind. And they have the concept to get that place to happiness. They're avoiding the sufferings. Every sentient being that is happy. But they don't know how to get to a place where they can have comfort, happiness. They don't know how to get out of suffering. They're running, but they're getting toward to suffering again. And they're not getting the liberation, happiness, because they do to ignore them. So that is the kind of, all sentient being they have Buddha natures, they are aware of that, but they don't know how to get the more better place. They compare to that sentient being like other such animal and those different realm. We humans are very fortunate. We have more intelligence. Compared to God's realm, we are short life. We have less happiness. But we are more fortunate in the God's realm. Why we fortunate? Because we are human realm. We are capable. We are able to avoiding negative. We are able to do positive. Avoiding negative, remove the suffering. We are applying the positive, we want to get happiness. That's human have naturally, human intelligence have that, So we are fortunate. If we have a meeting with some teacher, guide us perfectly, precisely, then we have the opportunity to make the better life than what we have now. if get enlightenment, that's the best. Even we can do it because we have Dharma, Buddha taught, Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayanas. Mahayana is to get enlightenment, 3 numberless eon to engage Bodhisattva conduct to get enlightenment. The Vajrayana is kind of shorter than that. Longer bhajana student get 16 lifetime. Shorter on the 7 lifetime, shorter than the 3 lifetime. Then in the Pardo, in the sometime in this very lifetime. So that kind of opportunity Buddha taught, especially teaching the Vajrayanas. But we human being doesn't use it that. One thing we are ignorant. We don't believe. Even we believe most time Buddha can help my long life, good health, prosperity, better my children, good, everything nice. And that's kind of, they believe the Buddhist blessings. They never have put effort to benefit, free from all engineering, from suffering and attain enlightenment. Very profound concept, great useful, powerful, those concepts. But this concept is very hard to adapt it to be even human being. Most people may not able to, unfortunately. But human have opportunity to do so. So therefore, we are more fortunate than even God. So God had happiness, long life. They have no Dharma teaching to improve. No one teach them to give them more virtuous action, positive actions. They lived the positive, the past life, they did it. That resolved the experience. And while they experience that, it is all very joyful, they forget the next. So their life becomes briefly, shortly, they fall down to the, again, different round and suffer and pain. So that is the unfortunate. But that compared to that, human realm is very, very fortunate. But we have to use it, the fortunateness as it is, you know. Otherwise, we can make miss up, then we're not able to do it, and then confusing continually. So anyway, and then we have to be learn the philosophy a little bit, not philosophy, but the concept of the Madhyamikas. You know, Buddha taught the view, you know, so the Hinayana have 2 different kinds of Hinayana. They have the view, slightly different each others. They both believe to selflessness, but they have the way to selflessness achieved their different method. And then Mahayana have the 2 also view to method. We have the Mahayana have mind only view, it's one of them. And then the Madhyamika view is to the 4 different kind of view. To Tajie, you know, so this each of the class, and they have different view. That is normal in Buddhist, India and Tibet, and that is also there, that view. So that is the kind of sometimes different view. But the Mahayana all is the selflessness of the phenomena and selflessness of individual is a very important view to and bring into analyze and settle down a view on that. So that is very important. Those are all the defending. And so mind only view is they can call hindrances. So they have the view that self-radiant, so kind of aware oneself and radiating or self-radiant and self-radiant, self-awareness. That is the kind of final view. But that view is they say that they are truly existent. So that is the kind of, but they're same things actually, everything. But that view, and the final view, they're accepting that that was the one mind-only view. So there is lots of debate, you know, especially Madhyamika refute them. So that is the, but this is very necessary. Post Theravada view, selflessness of person is also very important. without that view, to completely settle down on that view, and you cannot get the mind on the view, so you have to go from there to next, because self-radiance, the self-aware and self-radiant is the kind of truly existence. That is the Madhyamika, that is the kind of view of the Mahayana, you see. And then the Madhyamika view is kind of also that the repute that, a mind-only view. So Madhyamika view is kind of saying that is total emptiness. So Jamgyal Kongtrul Rinpoche has, and kind of simply he did say, the Chedat Nyamja Ome Tenso Shing, and Chepa Ngendo Ranjupa, Mega Nangwa Tapu Tenla Jos, Jamgyal Kongtrul Rinpoche says that the Madhyamika practitioners, he says, suppose you especially when you equipoise your mind and settle down the meditation emptiness, you must take seriously the view of the Madhyamikas. Means very principle, very important, the meaning of the Madhyamikas. So how you meditate that? So the Madhyamika is also two different schools as well there. This kind of first one is Swatantrika. And some view says that in the post, very important, but you have to briefly analytical. Then you let your mind to unimpededly like sky. So that is kind of final view. So which means that analyze everything and break down to everything's empty, because all dependent originated, that relax your mind to totally empty like sky. Clear, boundless, deepless. Nothing good, nothing bad. Everything totally, but relax in your mind like sky. So that is the post-Madhyamika view getting there. But that's have to be investigated too. The next one is kind of, this called Swatantrikas. Another ones, the Madhyamika view. Ranjupa, Teljurpa. So Teljurpa is the kind of Swatantrika. Then other view is, so how to say translated, but Sanskrit, there's a name. So we call Teljurpa. So these are the sayings, get to deeper now view. So what is this view? You go through them and analyze. Everything break down, emptiness, all. That is the same things that, University of the Buddhists, they 12 years they study on that. Madhyamikas and the other thing to break down to everything into emptiness, They debate also. So this is kind of spending time there. But then it's a kind of Jamgyal Kongtrul Rinpoche says when they practice things. The post-Swatantric ideas he just gave it, I told you that. But now second one, he says that, see, I have not remembering this word. I don't say very simple way to say, Teljur. So kind of, it's very nice to say, but I'm forgetting these things to see. So what it says is kind of, so it's saying that it's meditating to Dharmakaya, but do not meditate to Dharmakaya, but you are immersed into Dharmakaya you staying in state of Dharmakaya. Instead, your Dharmakaya is over there meditating here. Dharmakaya means total emptiness, total emptiness actually. So I almost calling them back, but there's something I have to say is you are not object to meditations and subject your meditator here. So it's the subject object in one, like water putting the waters. When you put water, putting the water, you never knows what pot water was coming from other pot. So your water putting water, you put water in one, that you cannot separate it. Water you put from the other pot to this another pot. They become one, So he says, then you don't have the imagining there's some kind of object there, Dharmakaya, and you are meditating the Dharmakaya, but you merge your mind in Dharmakaya, relax there. There's nothing to add, remove there. Totally stay there. So this case, he refuting this Svatantrika view. So Svatantrika view says you relax as sky. Then now this view, the higher view, this Madhyamika, so which I'm talking now, and he was kind of refuting that view, other view, saying, why you refute it in the first place? You refute everything. After all, you say, meditate like sky. You accepting sky as something that to meditate. He said he had no view. Last one said no view. So he have no views and the other person can nothing to debate with him. And he have nothing to debate because he said nothing. So that's the last one. Svatantrika, and this one's kind of Sanskrit, I remembering, but so some of my student may know, I don't know. So there is a Sanskrit, but we call Umatel Drupa, So that is the kind of view separate. So this also, you have to go through all the investigatings. It's not in really inherently exist in anything there. So then is go to another matter is kind of call it Shantong meditations. Shantong meaning other emptiness. A self-emptiness, both the Svatantrika, this other one, both are the self-emptiness. But then other emptiness is the kind of, these Madhyamikas, but this Madhyamika is different. In the high Madhyamika we call. But some school in Tibetan scholar, they leveling as mind only, same. But mind only is another school, and mind only is the lower than Madhyamikas. But then the other empty is higher than the self Madhyamikas. So that is the case. They kind of they call that is an empty, but there's not. You have something to make empty. That what you are looking for empty is empty from beginnings, and that is this empty. Nothing can destroy it. Nothing can destroy it. There is no impermanent. It's permanent. That emptiness is permanent. So that make really and other Madhyamika become very excited to that they always refuting anything existing inherent. Here it says that it's everything empty, but actually these other empty meanings that empty other than from your mind is empty, but your actual mind nature is not empty. That is kind of refuting. See, so that is case one of our texts is called Uttara-tantra Shastra, Lama, and saying that again, I don't remembering all this a long time and not using. And then he quoted there saying, what called minds. So anyway, saying that is Words for other empties. Other empty meanings, and that is other than true nature of the mind is empty, but the true nature of the mind is not empty. Why that other than true nature is empty? Other than true nature is everything's empty because all of them dependent originated. And then true nature of the mind, Tathagata Karma, is empty because no contribution and no contradict and what no one dependent originated. It's spontaneous. There's empty beyond of the empties. So this is no any condition created this. Tathagata is spontaneously, primordially. So that is kind of true Buddha nature. That is never decay. Nothing can destroy. So others is empty because everything you know, anything's created from something, you know. For example, we have the mentally get angry. So when you get angry, that anger comes from something to object outside, cause to someone to get excited, you know. Then you get angry. So therefore, the person who anger is have someone cause to your anger. That's anger become angry. The anger become temporarily obscured to Buddha nature now. So temporarily the Buddha nature obscured by that temporary obscurations, but temporary obscuration is not last long. Why that not last long? Because that contribute from the interdependent originated. It's like cloud. Cloud come to cover the sun. Cloud come to cover the sun. But cloud did not last long. Wind came by, it blew out, gone again. The sun is shining there all the time. When it's cloudy, clouds, sun is shining. Only clouds temporarily obscure the sunlight, but sunlight is always there. When once wind hit the cloud moves, sun shining. It's visible. But sun was, whether cloud or not, shining forever. So Buddha nature is sunlight, nothing can obscure by temporary cloud. Buddha nature like sun. Cloud like temporary obscuration, like the anger. The anger is the example. Anything that we do obscure, negative, those negative is temporary. They are not forever obscure because Buddha nature is never be mixed up with the obscurations. There is ego. Ego is never become Buddha natures. Ego is separate from Buddha natures. Only the meantime obscure, temporarily. So anything that temporarily creates through the dependent origination is the empty. That is called empty. But actually original true nature of the Buddha is never empty. Never empty. Even someone go to hell realm, someone or suffer at the hell realm, billion of year, everyone, he will be suffer there. But his Buddha nature is never obscured by that. He experienced by ego, and I suffer by his ego, confused by the ego, but actually Buddha nature is never the covered the Buddha nature. It is always there, radiating, shining there. No matter who, sentient being who have Buddha nature, they have potential to get enlightenment. The meantime, the temporary obscuration obscured them. So therefore say, temporary obscuration can obscure Buddha nature temporarily, but there are two nature of the perfect awakening Buddha. That is nothing obscure. That is nothing destroyed. That is forever there. So therefore, all sentient beings, future Buddha, everybody, future Buddha, they have potential to get enlightenment sooner or later, but they said not have the condition to bring them quick enlightenment. But there's also a possibility. So that is the kind of one of way the Madhyamikas, the empty, one is the other empty, one is a self-empty. Self-empty means and up to the reputed everything independent origination, everything empty, then empty is completely empty there, So that is kind of we debate. In Tibet doesn't have decision to make yet. It's still debating there. Sometimes they didn't talk about because they're serious. There's a serious one come to point. The monasteries debate there. Among the monasteries debate that. But this is the Nyingma and Kajupa nowadays, I think they are more holding other emptiness. And then Giluk and such a tradition, some of them holding in self-emptiness. So that is kind of different philosophical way it's debate. But this is the kind of way to you go to Mahamudra, road to go to Mahamudra. So this idea you have to experience. You have to meditate on that. When I was young, I have very much question on that. And one day I already came to United States. I was young still, but one time I talked to my root guru, His Holiness Kalu Rinpoche. One time I thought with his room, he was resting. So he was in San Francisco. There is kind of some of the very wealthy people from the Indonesia. Not Indonesia. Yeah, I think it's Indonesia. They have big house there and they ask Rinpoche to rest. And they offer, in Indonesia, the whole mountain he offered to Rinpoche. So Rinpoche was there and they not allowed anyone. So I go to lunch at some time with Rinpoche. So now we have time I talk to Rinpoche then. I'm talking about this and I say this, it's kind of very confusing and this different stage. So the Rinpoche says, why are you confused? And I said, well, I don't know. He's once a here, once a there. He said, no, not need to confuse. It's everything's perfect for us to know something and practice on that. So he says that you need to go to the Theravada and practice, Hinayana practice selflessness of the individual. Very important. There's no way to go other than that. That's the principal view of the Hinayana. You have to do that. Without the practice, you cannot go Madhyamikas. And he said, I thought, yes, Rinpoche doesn't talk that way, but Rinpoche teaching always go like that. Then so the Madhyam, and now next one is mind only is next for Mahayana. So again, you Mahayana practice, that is this kind of, you practice completely refuting selflessness and now self-phenomena, everything. The breakdown, again, say your mind is self-aware and self-radiant is the truly existence. So that is the kind of mind-only view. So that which is, you have to go there. So up to the selflessness, you go to selflessness of phenomena, everything, you have difficulty, you lost. But go there, this will be help you. You focus your mind directly and then staying on that, that is kind of on the road to go to Madhyamikas. So you get experience understanding that. Then you go to Satantrika, Madhyamikas. Repute everything, relax your mind and space, skylight, deep and profound, clear, clean. And stay on that. It's very perfect up there. You believing your mind as self-radiant and self-awareness. But now you go to totally avoiding that. You stay on the state of total emptiness, like sky example, And next he said, go to totally emptiness, even nothing accepting any concept. That's very good, he says. You have to go through your own missing, you go directly, will be a lot of confusions. That way you are less confusion. And after you that get totally familiar with that one, you go to other emptiness, then you will begin to understanding more deep, total two natures. That is the breach of the Mayan, Vajrayana and Mahayana, and Mahamudra's Mahati, Mahasandis. That's the breach. He told me, and since then I have questioned subside because I thought he's clearly giving me all this road. Doesn't mean I'm staying there, no? It is very good. So this is a good way he answered me. So I was very happy with that. Even I'm not practicing too good and not too much, but that was very clearly what he fit me all my life to wondering these ones. So this is a kind of very necessary for your practice to you can join that, understanding this practice for you to get, clear yourself, So that's case, what the time we have now?
It's 3:20 now, 3:20 p.m.
So you want to stop because I need lots of things to talk about really Mahamudra now next. This is kind of Mahayana way to entering the Mahamudra. And this is also the kind of insight meditation, Vipaassana meditations. And so this will be the one way to session to practice, one way to, but I did my best. I don't know how clear, I'm not understanding you how much you're understanding. So my way to presenting to you to clarifying that. So this is more than time now, but we have beginning a little bit confused there, 20 minutes. So we give already 20 minutes there, right?
We started a little late, and so now it's been almost 2 hours after that point.
Okay, so we have replaced the losing the half hour, right? Okay, so and there's a question they have. I don't know, they have no question. But I want to, this means the next week we have to resume again. If you want to get actual Mahamudra, I spend time and meditate with you sometime, Mahamudra. So today we didn't touch Mahamudra yet. So can you tell them, okay? So that in the meantime, you have question now. I would really like you to have any question you have. So Dave is starting acting there, right?
Yes, we do have some questions. I have, to start us off, I have 3 questions from Deborah Jenke, and while we're going through these, we can see if there are others. Please type them into the chat if you have questions. So the first question is about last week's teaching, Rinpoche. And so Deborah asks, would you please speak more about subtle level sinking and how this fault can lead the practitioner to an animal realm?
Well, in a subtle level, sinking is the kind of someone in not really too experienced in meditation, you will not get attracted by it. And because when you have the high level of the concentration, samadhi practice, to attract by the subtle level sinking. But then gross level sinking is, they need to high quality of this samatha, but not that. It is not mistakable. It can be correct. We'll aware this may be not correct. But this case on sinking, this case, in a meditation, meditate will become very high degree of the samadhi. So he's deep in the samadhi, and then sinking is also very subtle, meaning that hard to acknowledge. So sinking is this one. We also example this another way, say, thief example here. Thief, they take things, and obviously people can notice. The people know he taking things, or she will taking things. So people will be aware this person is a thief, and he acting like thief, and he doesn't get taking things. So that case, that is very honest thief. So before they take, we'll be hiding our things in safe place. So these are not dangerous. So that is the kind of high gross level thinking, like excited part, excited obstacle. But the lower, very subtle level thinking is like person is very nice. He's nice to honor, nice to family. He's gentle, kind. He just even not eat food because he thinks that I'm getting salary, I should not eat. So that's very careful. But then the honor will trust him. Oh, no, he long time, he does this and that. It's impossible he will take anything. So beginning, he will give the house key. He can go anywhere. And he become very, very good. Then after all, he giving the key for your treasure room too. After he trusts everything, the person trusts to their servant knows, he trusts the servant know where his things are. So then that day you will take very, very important things home and you'll gone. So then you never get back that things. So the kind of, one is the kind of honesty, one is the very rubbish, what do you call that? When someone look very nice doing so bad things, what do you call that? So that the example like that, so thinking, subtle level thinking is a kind of, you develop that high quality of samadhi is so long time with a lot of effort, diligence, and faith. And suddenly this subtle level thinking will mix, and then you will be misunderstanding actual realization of your meditation and the thinking. So that will be mistake as such level of meditation become then like some animal sleeping, no aware anything. So that way you meditate like happening that, and that will be the born into animals. Lembu charge chigomba, pejuturu yurudos. So the lembo meaning is very foolish, not intelligent enough, and not, faith and diligent enough, and fall down to the, those fall coming that you're not noticing, and misleading you to in the wrong place, wrong meditation. So it could be caused you to want the animal realm. And that is historically in Tibet, many of great masters meditate and put in the mountain, live in the mountain, when at the end they have some result like that, some kind of story. I don't know. I heard the story like that. So therefore, thinking level is kind of one way is because there was an important certain pillars. We are meditate, and then we lost our energy, lost our concentration, and then certain point we lost after all every interest. Then that will be a cause. Sometimes those thinking. Sometimes you're thinking like lazy too, lazy and become mind become not sharp and usable too, and become more like collapse down, so that can be happening. So that is what it means. So I think that I very much believe that also too. So I hope this will be helping some.
Yes, that was an excellent answer, and I can see that Deborah is saying it was a good response. So the next question is also from Deborah, and this is also related to the last class. And her question is, what is the antidote to pride?
Okay, so antidote to pride is the humble, humbleness. And what happens, proud is making, I'm the better, and I am the understanding, I am the no more, I'm better class, so look myself so high and so glad I'm the best. So when you get that kind of proud, you don't respect other people. And someone, low understanding, low knowledge, you put down them. Bullshit, you don't know anything. And a little mistake, then you're complaining, big mistake. You think this wrong, that wrong, everything wrong. So you should be good before you get wrong. Come to me, I will clarify and take care of you. So he kind of put down the people very badly, and that's the proud, And then also that someone have high understanding, knowledgeable, beautiful, everything look very wonderful, and he will not take it that he thinks, so I'm better than him. And then I just not like that person. I'll tell, but he's like that, but he's do those kind of things, this, and he tried to complain, everything wrong he's doing. So you never see good quality, understanding, generosity, kind, loving, good. That good person have so good quality there. My own negative, obscure good quality, and then I'll complain, which make my quality become damaged. My name, fame got damaged, so that all the proud can make the damage. All good things, especially any merit I do, anything I could do, they're not value anymore because of that will be completely dispelled all the goodness that I had. So we say Nagil ki Gongbula, Yendeng Chumishons, is that meanings that the crystal ball, like the proud people are like crystal ball. The crystal ball, you pouring the water to crystal ball, the ball is round, none of the water drop go inside because it's slip it. When you put water doesn't go in. So that proudful person is like a ball of crystal, and any blessing, good quality, come from outside doesn't fit in your mind because you're proud. Water come but go out, never go sinking in your mind. So you never learn any good quality. And so the proudful people can make yourself up until go to hell realms.
Thank you, Rinpoche. The third question from Deborah, and we have several others, but we'll get to all of them, is please explain again how we benefit others if all is empty and non-existent.
With that case, we have need to hearing more teaching because that absolute, the relative truth is the Buddha taught. True truth. Buddha taught is true truth altogether. Whatever he teaching, he have the true truth, absolute truth and relative truths. So if you don't analyze, look directly, everything's existent, real. When you analyze detail, then everything's non-existence. So that is the kind of emptiness is the antidote of the relative truth, relative, what you see in things. So the relative truth is also Buddha taught. And absolute truth is also Buddha taught. So one time Buddha says everything emptiness. There is no practice in the world. No practice, no path, no traveler, no wisdom, no kaya. So there are no nirvana to look nirvana. You don't go nirvana is that there's nowhere to go. Nirvana is not existent. So also, all the three realms, inanimate, uninanimate, all sentient being, all living, a world, all of them mind only. Manifestation of mind, not really existent there. Manifested mind become animate, inanimate. Their beginning, they're not primordially existence. They're all is kind of unborn and truly not existence. And so therefore, no karma and no karmic relations. So therefore, there are no samsara. So in that case, there is no nirvana to go. There's no samsara to get out. So nothing. Samsara is empty. Nirvana is empty. So therefore, what for go to nirvana? Why would need to avoid from samsara? All the same. Even those karma is no maturation because karma is not existing. Then again, Buddha says, so there's nothing existing. Where come from this three-time Buddha? There is anyone believe without cause effect. Say without seed, have no operation. So all is cause and effect. So now he says, samsara nirvana is existing. Who said this? Lord Buddha Shakyamuni says. First time he said non-existent of nirvana. Second, he said non-existent of samsara. Now he says yes, samsara and nirvana exist. If you don't believe samsara and nirvana, three-time Buddha where come from? Three-time Buddha, first sentient being, then Buddha. You believe anywhere, no cause, no effect. Have to have some kind of cause to resolve. Even lay people work this year hard work, planting seed to next time grow the fruit. So now we don't believe that. That is very foolish. Therefore, Buddha says it exists in everything. This make more confused. You don't need things. Anyway, so then he said, what you see the real appear as the real. And also the nature of the emptiness. What you see the real existent, what you see the nature of the emptiness. Their essence is the same, equality, equanimity. Because when you see the existent, emptiness too. When you see emptiness, then you can see existence too. But when you are extreme to existence, that is the you fall into extreme to existence. You see the emptiness, attached to emptiness, then you fall into the nihilism, emptiness, extreme to the emptiness. So combine nature of the emptiness, the appearance of existence, unify them. Emptiness is the essence of everything. Appearance is the clarity of all your emptiness. So your mind is emptiness. What you seeing, hearing, seeing, thinking, everything in the world existing is radiant, clear light, manifestation of your mind. So they are insane. Sun shining in the sky, light for all world. Without sun, there is no light. The sun and light is inseparable. You don't see it separate, but they're union. There's nothing individually exists, and they are all self-existent phenomena separately existing. They're in conjunction of your essence of your mind. Empty clarity of your mind is the phenomenal to existence. So union of this is the pervasive, forever, to nature of the everything. This answer you? Hello?
Yes, this is the wonderful answer, Rinpoche. Thank you.
Okay. Actually, this Milarepa says, so I quoted from him, so I didn't say beginning, but that's Milarepa says, Buddha says so that's Milarepa song. Okay, go ahead.
Excellent. Okay, Yeshe asks if the Okmin heaven is for arhats or right before arhathood.
Oh, arhat, I think, doesn't get that concept. Okmin is not enough. Vinaya Sutra have that concept, not there. Okmin is pretty much in the Mahayana Vajrayana. And Mahayana also not too much, but Vajrayana strongly emphasize that.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Maud asks, does shamatha automatically become vipassana, or does this depend on your intention?
Sometime can be because that you're teaching teacher experience or teacher teaching, and they can, time go by, they just, without you knowing, they lead on their directions. So without you knowing, you may getting there. Sometime that happening. This sometime you have no teacher, then you are struggler there. You need somebody to expose them. And so Vipassana have to be instructed in a certain point that you are ready for that. Then the teacher have to instruct it. That will be helpful.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
You're welcome.
Cone asks, when one analyzes a phenomenon and comes to the point where one cannot find anything that stands on its own as that object, how does one rest in that? Is that a specific technique? The mind wants to move away from that experience of not finding to something else.
Okay, so I was not concentrating, I think.
I shall read again.
Please.
When one analyzes a phenomenon and comes to the point where one cannot find anything that stands on its own as the object, how do you rest in that? Is there a specific technique? As the mind wants to move away from that experience of not finding onto something else.
I think that there's a depending how much you're practicing, and also the merit and purification, and those helpful. And then actually, this specific case, you need the samatha, vipassana, and samatha especially have to be very strong. More stabilize your samatha practice, and then these will be automatically come duration longer, and you're not wandering too much. But if not enough, then I think this will be very short, and not duration lasts longer there. When it's completely, totally investigated, you become emptiness. So how to sustaining that emptiness? That's his question, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that case, yes, the duration of the meditation sustain as your view that you come to break down your views in that state, and duration will be the depending how much you familiarity to your practice, samatha practice, and then vipassana, how long you practicing. This can expanded your duration more and more. Yes.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Jason Espada says, thank you for these teachings, Rinpoche. I have one question. Does the experience of the nature of mind arise on its own after much practice, or is it the result of making an effort?
Okay, so I'm sorry, you can repeat once, please.
Yes, I would be happy to. Does the experience of the nature of mind arise on its own after much practice, or is it the result of making an effort?
Recognize nature of the mind is depending. So when you practice unmistakably, and that will be possible, yes, but there is called Samotrapa, see, the word called Samotrapa means mind, introducing your mind, nature of mind. So that is will be very helpful somewhat. And someone very good teacher meditating himself, and then you have belief and trust, a little faith, and that kind of teacher you discuss, they will help you. They're the very tool. Where your question is, you need to be some qualified teacher to introduce you directly. That may help you. Yes.
Thank you, Rinpoche. So Michael Tipton asks, what is the most profound thing you've learned from all of your experience studying Buddhism?
I see. You mean what the profound things I learned from the study of Buddhism, right?
Yes.
I think the Buddhist, every teacher teach me very profound to me. Every practice I do, they're very profound. Unfortunately, I'm not profound enough to get that. Those teacher blessing and those practice blessing. And due to my lazy, my crazy, bring me not able to grab that things. So otherwise, I can, every teacher, even I have teaching now, I hear him teaching right now, different lineage, different people, some Western, some American, some in other place. I listen Hindu too. Hindu is a kind of, not necessarily many things to agree, but in so many things, they temporarily, they very helpful too. So I think that everything that what you look, very profound, and I think that everything make profound depending who you are. And if I'm proudful and I'm very stupid, and then nothing profound. Buddha come to me, I will not mind. He can come to, he's come, another person come there, not big deal, But if you are completely acceptable and dhanang calls pure obedience, everything teachings, I learned from the people in the home, someone working in the field, our home. I was there, living there. I see daytime, I have nothing to do. I look at some lady working hard morning to evenings. And I learned from that, how diligent. If they do practice like that, they can make light and quicker than me. But they're doing for the worldly things, take care of the land, take care of the cow baby, take care of the cow, clean, cooking the husband, taking the children. They're non-stop they're doing this. That's very diligent. Those diligent, I have to learn that. If I have that diligent to my practice, I've been enlightened a long time ago. So that I'm learning that too. So I think so that learning, when you're proud, and think the proud is the one of the kind of full instruction to learn from other people. Get blessing. Blessing, everyone can get blessing. Each being have the Buddha nature. I believe they have Buddha nature, then that Buddha nature have the Buddha blessing. So I get everything blessing too. So that's way look at that will be very helpful, I think. So therefore, I found everywhere profound. I am the one unfortunate person not receiving that profound. So that's why I look at. Okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Those are all the questions we have right now.
Thank you. That's good question. A good question. More than ever, I have question. I'm very happy with that. So thank you very much. I'm happy to all of you to there, and I can share some little things. I hope you can use it. This benefit for you. And thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you. Lama Ching, your dedication prayers, we forget now. We do something.
So, Rinpoche, do you want to schedule another session for this Saturday?
This Saturday, same time, I like to give one session for finishing nicely that Mahamudra I didn't touch yet.
Okay. Well, we still have almost the full, 28 people, even now. So people here are serious, and so that's good. So I will send out an email, put onto the schedule for next Saturday for the 7th and final session for this series of teachings.
Thank you, Lama Ching.
And so thank you very much. And my apologies for technical difficulties. I sent Rinpoche the wrong link to start off with, so that's my fault. So
I think so, Lama, that yesterday you sent me Rinpoche's teaching that. I was listening that. That confused, looked like that link coming today. I opened it, asked you to open, you told me, I opened that coming.
Then I opened and I saw the same result as what you got, and that so I'm.
Thank you. So you smart enough to put us to work. That's good. Thank you.
Oh, and Lama Ching, there's a question I just want to address. Someone is asking if Michael Tipton is asking, will the next teaching be at this link too?
Yes, I believe it will be the same place, same exact link as this. Yes.
Thank
Good
you.
question.
That's good.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Rinpoche.
You're welcome.
Everyone, thank you, and good night.
Thank you. Thank you.